The uses of physics in everyday life. I'll be going over the definition of physics, how physics is in gravity, how physics is in electricity, how physics is in automobiles, how physics is in sound, and then there will be a conclusion by Christina Nicole Atwell. What is physics? Physics, defined by Merriam-Webster, is science that deals with matter and energy and their interactions. But physics to me is everything around me, like cars, sound, cooking, computers, shopping, electronics, and so much more. Gravity. Gravity is a force of attraction that holds us down and was discovered by scientist Isaac Newton. Gravity is a force, and it is measured on Earth at about 9.8 meters per second, or 9.8 meters per second squared. This small numerical value for gravity, g, is used in hundreds of formulas and equations in physics when calculating things on Earth. Gravity on other planets. Pluto has a gravity of 0.42 meters per second squared, which means if you were on Pluto, you'd practically be floating around like a helium balloon on Earth. The Moon has a gravity of 1.62 meters per second squared. Mercury has a gravity of 3.59 meters per second squared. Mars has a gravity of 3.77 meters per second squared. Venus has a gravity of 8.87 meters per second squared. Earth has a gravity of 9.81 meters per second squared. Uranus has a gravity of 10.67 meters per second squared. Saturn has a gravity of 11.08 meters per second squared. Neptune has a gravity of 14.07 meters per second squared, and Jupiter has a gravity of 25.95 meters per second squared, which means if you tried to jump on Jupiter, you probably wouldn't get very far. Why do balloons float? Balloons float due to helium being so much lighter than air. As long as the weight of the balloon with helium inside is lighter than the air around it, the balloon will float. Once the helium starts dissipating, the balloon will no longer float. If you blow up a balloon with your mouth, it will immediately sink to the ground because the air from your mouth, with moisture and saliva, is heavier than the air outside or around you. Electricity. Electricity is a form of energy that is caused by charged particles. It is simply put as the flow of electric charge by SparkFun. Particles can be charged either positively or negatively. We'll also be discussing electrostatic force and the two types of electricity, static and current. Electrostatic force. Electrostatic force is the force that causes positive and negative charges to attract each other, and positive to repel, and also negative to repel. The stronger the charges, the closer they will move towards each other. It's just like a magnet if you think about it. According to SparkFun, electrons in atoms can act as our charge carrier because every electron carries a negative charge. If we can free an electron from an atom and force it to move, we can create electricity. Static electricity. Static electricity is when there are positive and negative charges separated by an insulator, plastic, air, glass, rubber, etc. If you've ever rubbed your hand over a soft throw blanket in the dark, then you've probably seen static electricity. It's the little sparks that go from the blanket to your hand, and they're actually visible. Also, when you rub a balloon over your head and your hair sticks to it and stands on its own, that's because of static electricity. The last two things are super fun to do as experiments with kids. To experience static electricity, you can take a soft throw blanket or a fleece blanket into a dark room and rub your hands over it several times, and it will create little sparks from the blanket to your hand. And to do the balloon activity, all you have to have is a balloon that you can blow up with your mouth and tie, and then rub it on your hair, and your hair will stand up and stick to the balloon. Current electricity. Current electricity is what happens when you turn on a light or charge your phone. Current electricity is always at a constant flow and requires a circuit. The circuit could be as simple as a wire, but it cannot have any gaps or tears. I actually had to replace a metal band in my heat sealer the other day because it had been burnt in half. Science really is in everything. Automobiles. Most people don't realize that the headrest in a car is actually meant to protect their head and neck in a crash rather than just being a comfy feature. The headrest moves your head forward equally with your body so you're not decapitated in a crash. Also, cars are made for crash. Most newer cars have two small metal bars in the front of the car to take the brunt of the energy in a head-on collision. In older cars, the frame is sometimes too strong and the metal is too thick, causing the car to stop much quicker and the people inside to get all shook up, where their organs and their brain follow Newton's law and keep going instead of stopping as quickly as the car. Sound. Sound is produced by vibrations, also known as sound waves. This is why you can feel the bass in a car. These sound waves can cause damage to the eardrums, causing deafness or loss of hearing and lots of pain. This is also how deaf people can feel the music in the bottom of their feet. Fun fact, a deaf woman almost won America's Got Talent as a singer back in 2017 because she felt the beat of the music with the bottom of her feet. In conclusion, physics is in everything. You literally can't go a single day without physics. Gravity is the force that holds us down onto the earth. Static electricity is what causes your hair to stand up when you go down a plastic slide. Headrests are lifesavers, so always leave them in your seat.